Hi everybody, this is Sarah and I'm here to tell you a little bit about how to use the microscope. Hopefully you've already reviewed what the parts of a compound light microscope like this one are. Just as a quick refresher, see if you can remember, if I call this part A, what is that? This one outside of it is part B. This here is part C. And these are part D. So I'll tell you what the answers are. Part A right here, this is the fine focus adjustment knob. So this is going to change the focus of a slide that's on this stage just a little bit. Part B, this is the coarse focus adjustment knob. So this one's going to move the stage up and down quite a bit, and we're only going to use that with the lowest magnification. Part C, these are the stage adjustment knobs, which will move your slide around so that you can center it and look at different parts of your specimen. And part D, these here are the objective lenses, which include the scanning lens, which is 4 times, the low power lens, which is 10 times, the high power lens, which is 40 times, and the oil immersion lens, which is 100 times. When you're looking for the total magnification of a specimen, you would multiply 10, which is the magnification of these ocular lenses, times whatever objective lens you're using. So if I'm using the 10 ocular lenses with the 100 oil immersion, 10 times 100 is 1,000 times total magnification that you would be seeing there. That said, we're always going to start on the 4 times and make sure that when you begin that your stage is lowered to the lowest point. And then we're going to get a slide. I'm just going to use a prepared slide right now. We're not going to worry too much at this point about how to make your own slides. We'll do that next week. So this slide, it has a label on it, and you may not be able to see on the video, but there's a specimen in the center of it. This one is Shigella dysenteria, so it's a type of bacteria. I'm going to click my slide into these stage clips on the top of the stage, and I'm going to turn on my light. Next, what I want to do is just from the outside, try to move the stage control knobs until the specimen is in the very center, just above the light and below the scanning lens. So the top knob will move it up and down, the bottom knob will move it left to right, and we want to get that as centered as possible. Now I'm going to move the coarse focus knob all the way up to the top. And I'm going to look through and see if I can see anything. Well, I see kind of a blurry pink blob. And so now, since I'm at the lowest magnification, I can move the coarse focus knob down a little bit until my specimen comes into focus. So that blurry pink blob is resolving into a bunch of little pink dots with white dots in the middle of them. Really hard to tell what I'm looking at from this magnification. So once you've got it clearly in focus at one magnification, you can move to the next highest. So now I'm going to go up to the low power lens, which is 10 times. And notice that I did not move the stage before that, because if it's in focus at this level at 4, it's probably going to be really close to in focus with all of the other lenses. So one mistake I see people making is that they get afraid that their lens is going to touch the stage or the slide, and so they move the stage down, and then they're completely out of focus and can't see anything at the next magnification. So keep the stage at the same place where it was in focus, go to 10, and then look through. Now I can still see it, but it looks really blurry. At this point, since the lens is so close to the stage, I don't want to move the stage around a lot. So instead of using the coarse focus, I will only use the fine focus at all of these higher lenses. So as I look through, I will turn the fine focus until it becomes clear and sharp again. So now I can see all of those little pink and white dots, but they look larger now. Still really tiny. Now I'm going to kind of repeat that process. Once I'm in focus at 10, I can move the objectives up to 40. You'll click into place. Again, the lens is very close to the slide now. but it's okay. I need it to be that close for the focus. And I'm only going to use the fine focus knob so that I don't crash the lens into the slide and maybe break the slide or scratch the lens. So fine focus, it's definitely looking a little clearer now. I can tell that some of those dots are little circle-shaped coccus bacteria. Okay. And then last would be the oil immersion lens. So mostly when looking at bacteria, we're going to use either the 40 or the 100, which is the oil immersion lens. You need to be absolutely sure that you are seeing the right thing at 40 before you move up to the 100. Because if you aren't, then once you use the oil on the 100, there's going to be a bunch of oil on your lens, and you'll have to clean it all off before you go back to the 40. Because you don't want to get the 40 lens covered in oil. So this immersion lens oil should always be used with the 100 lens. If you don't use the immersion oil with the 100, then the refraction of the light will be wrong, which means your image will probably look blurry, and it could even be the wrong color, and it will be hard to distinguish what you're actually looking at. So once you're completely in focus at 40, if you weren't, then it's best to go back to the previous lenses and get in focus and then go back to 40. So always if you lose your focus, go back to the 4, find your focus, and kind of repeat those steps going up. Once we're in focus at 40, then we can turn the lenses halfway between the 40 and the 100 so that there's some space on our slide in between them. And then we're going to take this immersion oil. You can see that it's very oily. And we're going to put a drop of that onto the slide on top of our specimen. Then you're going to move all the way over to the 100, and the lens will touch the oil, which is touching the slide. That's going to cause the light to pass through the oil into the lens, and that will improve the refractive index so that you can see the correct non-blurry specimen that you're looking at, and it should be the right color. So now as we're looking with the 100, we're going to use our fine focus again to get it clear and sharp. There we go. Usually I have to turn it very slowly on the 100 so that I don't lose my focus. Also, sometimes at the higher magnifications, it will look a little bit dark, and you want to use your dimmer switch to brighten the light a little bit. Also, there's a diaphragm here that you can use to increase the amount of light that's going through. So now I can see my specimens. I've got a bunch of tiny little round coccus-shaped bacteria in there. They're very small still, even at the 100. So once you're done looking, you want to move back to the 4. You want to use some lens paper, tear out a sheet, and you're going to wipe off and blot all the oil off of the 100 times lens. Usually you can continue blotting it multiple times until there's no more oil coming off on the paper. You take your slide out. If this is a prepared slide that you're going to reuse, then you'll want to clean the oil off of that as well. You can use some lens paper or a Kim wipe on the slide. It's the lenses that we have to be super careful to only use the lens paper with. We'll move the stage back all the way down and turn the light off. If your microscope has a cover, we put a cover back on it to help protect it from dust and anything that could contaminate it. So hopefully that helped give you a good idea of how to use the microscope.